Hey folks, my name is Pravus and welcome to more Frostpunk 2 in Derby Hill, Montreux for our endless mode run on Captain difficulty. And right now I actually think we're doing really well for ourselves. Our economy is looking pretty solid across the board. Lots of fuel is being produced at the moment. Population's looking pretty good. Have some extra workers to work around. The only thing that's scary right now is we do have a whiteout on the way, which is going to greatly reduce my materials production. That said, we have ways to get around that right now. All I'd have to do is divert 2,000 population to a material settlement, and we'd be able to produce enough to, I think, at least sustain us throughout the storm. Though alternatively, the better option might be to go for something like this materials colony, because don't forget, our long-term objective is to get 10,000 population in a food, fuel, and materials colony. So if I spend 2,000 pops over here, that just means I have to wait for a lot more population growth in order to get this up to the 10,000 that I ultimately am going to need. That's kind of the tricky thing. It might be better to go for this. But while materials usually can get shipped from the city over to the colony, it usually can't go the other way around during a whiteout. So I think it's entirely dependent on if we feel like we're going to have enough materials to survive for this whiteout. And right now, I mean, my stockpile's not that bad. It's really not. So maybe, just maybe, we can make something work on that front. We will have to see. I do want to try to move over to mandatory school next for our childhood. That's a promise. Losing the workforce does suck, but I really would like to have the extra research speed. And it looks like that is going to pass. Okay, so we have, at the very least, fulfilled a promise. Trust rises. The technocrats are very happy, which means now I can boost up my research speed dramatically, at least while they are currently very fervent. So this is phenomenal. Now we're about to really chunk through the science. Aha! I mean, it'd be better if I had more heat stamps with which to do more science, but you know, little details. What might make sense to go for next is going to be something that boosts up my population growth, like relationship rotation, which is going to be a reason-based thing. Generally speaking, my reason and tradition are supposed to be kind of okay, right? So I'm not sure that's actually going to be good. Whereas mandatory marriage, just an increase without any downsides at all, that might be a better way to go. Yeah, my reason has swapped dramatically in this direction. It was not supposed to do that. So I am kind of thinking maybe going for relationships and passing this law would be a very good idea. I'm going to go for it. Why the heck not? Let's also place down a quick surveillance watchtower somewhere. That's going to help burn down a little bit of the crime, which is currently building thanks to my population growth. And also, just in general, help get a little bit more reason, because I do need to balance things between this adaptation and progress. This is where things are currently the most lopsided, though now reason and tradition's looking pretty bad too, so we've got to keep things relatively even in order to keep my political situation stable. Now, I could go for the loaded sales pitch, and this would be a way of getting more heat stamp income. The problem is, I'm pretty sure that this leads to a negative event. I do not remember if this leads to a death. I think it might. Either that or it leads to sickness. I'm going to pass on this. We lose a little trust, and by a little, it means like a lot. I want the heat stamps. I really do. But because I'm trying to make this a deathless run, I'm not willing to take risks whenever I don't know for sure what's going to happen, if that makes any sense. Maybe that's cowardly, but it might make sense. Let's go ahead and find out what we found over here. A tracker's shack. We could find some more foragers. We'll come back to that in a bit. Researcher's cache. Take a bit more food. Okay, I'm going to hold off on that too. We're pretty sure that the oil colony is somewhere in this direction. It might be right here in these plains. We're going to go ahead and explore this quickly if we can. And we're about to finish up with some more areas here where we get a military vault. Ah, the cores! Finally! Okay. This we definitely want. I have got to get myself more cores. Problem is there's no good way to get myself a skyway over here. We haven't built anything in this direction. It's terrible. Yeah, that's too expensive at the moment. We're going to have to pass for a little bit longer. Famous hunting grounds. A lot of food. 1 million to be had over in this direction. Okay, I don't need this right now, but again, good to know that that exists. I'm going to go ahead and get myself a quick skyway set up to this colony. Well, I say that. Apparently going over this mountain is borderline impossible. Who would have guessed? Maybe instead I can get myself some goods production going? Something? Ugh, no, these mountain ranges are just impossible to build trails around. I have nowhere near enough money. Ugh. What about up over here in these new Pine Hills? A ramshackle settlement. We could take some prefabs or materials. I'll come back to that later. And an innovator camp for some more thinkers. I mean, I do like this extra population, don't get me wrong. The extra population is what's going to sustain me as I go through these settlements. I'm also about to lose my rallies from the Ice Bloods, which sucks. So that's going to cost me a bit in terms of, I think, some heat stamps and some workforce. Okay, is what it is for the moment. I am going to research these automated freight docks, just so I can get even more production out of my outposts. That's usually pretty good, and I need a bit more progress anyway. It's just always the heat stamps, man. Heat stamps are always a major bottleneck. There's just no way freaking around it. Mandatory marriage looks very unlikely to pass. By the way, I don't know how this exactly calculates. You'd like to think that 44 against 40 has at least a halfway decent chance of passing, like maybe a 30% chance. I'm pretty sure on Captain difficulty, though, there is a bias against the player to some degree or another, so it may be more like a 10% chance of this passing. Which means if I want this, I'm going to have to go ahead and negotiate. Whee! I will build another surveillance watchtower, eventually. That's easy. The more important thing is that I get this dang population growth, alright? From here on out, since I feel like I've got decent resources, it all comes down to how much can I get enough workers to work all the different colonies in tandem. That's really what it comes down to. Speaking of which, there's a couple thousand more people. Okay. We could set up another one of those colonies right now. We really could. Do I want to start demanding some more money from these different factions? It would be worth a lot. I think I can afford this from a trust perspective. I don't want to do that to my extreme factions right now because they're the ones that are able to get me these extra benefits, so I want to keep this nice and high. But I desperately need the money, man. And now that we have the freight docks, would it make sense to get things like the extraction strongholds for more production efficiency or reduce upkeep? I think it makes more sense to get the extraction strongholds, and this lets me keep moving a bit more down progress. Do we even have space, by the way, to build out our new logistics freight docks? We do have space for one. Just one. But that's all I need. Good enough for me. Let's go ahead and build it. And then out over here, we've discovered a military vault. Another one! Okay, so more cores. Lots of cores. That's great. And a raided camp for a ton of materials. That's pretty great. We'll go ahead and pick that up. And since I can't seem to get my skyways around this mountain range over here to this material stockpile, I think I will just go ahead and start this up and start diverting workforce toward the Imperial Smelter. So this becomes an infinite source with a lot of materials. We can expand the operation, and then the whiteouts no longer disable it. This does cost me a core, so I'm down to only one. I need to get more before I can get this colony going, but we now know where to find a bunch more cores. So that doesn't seem so bad. Gonna go ahead and also bring back a lot more population so I can distribute them elsewhere. Plus, over here we find the fuel colony! Okay, so we now know where all three of them are. Good. So now at least I know where all my population has to go. 10,000 each, though, huh? That is a lot. And there's the whiteout. It's gonna be here very, very soon. Any last-minute preparations? I'm almost capped on my materials. 150,000 would last a pretty long time. Let's just suppose I turned this all off for a second. Yeah, I'd still be at a pretty good surplus even if I disabled everything I have locally here. I feel like I'm probably fine, to be honest. Then it comes down to things like the fuel, but I've got a lot of oil now. Honestly, I just don't feel worried about the storm. I don't. I know it should be scary, but I think we're fine. What else do we find up over here? A lot, actually. Salvage some more cores. New technologies on arrival. Really? Oh, this will be free geothermal tech. I can research that myself. I really can. I think it'd be better to just go ahead and salvage the core. Can salvage another wreck for, good God, even more materials and coal. Another coal mine up here, and 3 more cores. Yes, please. Yeah, all these extra expedition teams has really been paying off. Exploration remains one of the most important things that you can do in this game. By a long shot. By the way, do we think we are at the point where it would make sense to swap over to mass-produced goods instead of the durable goods? Probably, actually. I think we could get more goods overall from doing that. I might be wrong. We're going to find out. I was making 25 before, now making 47. Absolutely worth it now. Okay. And here comes the storm. And guess what? I'm still in the positive on almost everything. Including the materials that are supposed to be impossible, by the way. Turns out it's very possible. We're going to research the waste incineration plants. a way of dealing with squalor, since that is currently building up. And I think that's going to be better for me. This is interesting, by the way. I thought I snuck something around the game, but I'm wrong. I was going to make a promise to build an untreated sawmill to the foragers in order to pass that law. So I thought, okay, we'll tell you what. I'll go ahead and dismantle the one I've already got, then pass the law. Apparently, they saw around that, though, because even though I rebuilt the same sawmill I had just destroyed, that does not fulfill the need. Smart, smart little guys. Dang it. Fine, we'll just go ahead and build it over here instead. And I do feel like when we get to this point of the game where I can be in the middle of a whiteout and I'm completely fine, I have no stress economically at all, this is sort of reaching the point where I start saying, are we almost done with this series? And the answer is obviously no, because I need to get people into the outposts, but, like, if the threat is mostly gone, this should be pretty much smooth sailing from here on out. By the way, I very much want to pass the Extraction Stronghold law. Almost everyone is against this, though, which I think is weird. Okay. Well, I'm going to have to negotiate probably with a couple of factions to get this passed, which is fine. I can research an advanced bio-waste hothouse, build another teaching hospital. All of this is decent. So these are promises I'm more than happy to make, especially if it gets me all that extra production value. We get a lot more progress towards, well, progress, so this is starting to even out in a good way. Okay. And my my surpluses are looking outstanding right now. Let's not kid ourselves. We're looking pretty good. What else we discover out here in the Frostlands? A monastery with some lords. I'll come back for that. There's a whiteout on right now. A flooded village. Livestock, more food. Don't need it. We're full. Pinned transport. Again, lots of materials I do not need, and another coal complex that I can turn into a settlement. I've got 99 Frostland teams right now. I feel like I should make a 99 Frostland teams and a something ain't one. I don't know. Be a great time to find a way to get myself some freaking skyways, wouldn't it? If I had the heat stamps for it anyway, which I'm always still struggling on. I especially want to get these cores online. Let's make sure we get the paths set up for that. Because if I can start generating cores, though I do have 5 to work with now, that's great. 40 would still get me a Generator 3 upgrade. There's no way in heck I'm going to be able to pull that off, though, right? I'm going to get myself another research institute. I think we can afford to go faster on our science at this point. Again, heating is looking great. Maybe we can go to the generator and actually just swap out what we're using. Let's go for our oil for a second. How are we doing on that? Pretty darn good. I've got 71 weeks of oil right now. I'm literally producing fuel faster than I can do anything with it. Another military vault up in this direction, by the way. Okay, so tons of cores off to the east. Plus a wrecked warehouse that is blocked off by the storm. Okay, so steam cores are no longer our problem. God, I do love the lighting effects during these storms. I really do. I've said it before, but, like, it stands. I just think it looks so gosh dang good. There's a lot to like in Frostpunk, too, in my opinion. An absolute ton. You know one thing that surprised me, though? I was doing a little bit of looking around in preparation for the series, thinking, you know, maybe we could go for a modded series in the game. And I was shocked to find that even though modding capability is an option, there's not a lot of mods out there for this game. I'm like, really? I thought there'd be a lot more. But apparently I am incorrect on that point, which is sort of sad. And holy crap, why are we out of all coal over here in the food colony? Oh my god. Flippin' heck, send some coal over here, for God's sake. Severe cold, people almost died. I don't totally know how that happened, but that got dangerously close. Frick me. I probably should have gotten a pop-up warning me about that. You know, a little red exclamation point over here. Anyway. No, what was I saying? Oh, right. Yeah, I just feel like there's a lot more about Frostpunk 2 that I'm a little bit disappointed did not gain much more traction with the mainstream audiences. I actually think this game is great, you know? And it's still sitting at only, I think, mostly positive reviews on Steam, which to me just feels kind of wrong. Like, I think this game is very, very good. Do I think it's better than Frostpunk 1? No, I don't. I mean, we've talked about this before. I do think that Frostpunk 1 is overall a better game. But, like, if Frostpunk 1 is a 10 out of 10, I would say that Frostpunk 2 is, at least for me, like an 8 out of 10. Right? Like, I think it's a really good game, so I'm just sort of shocked that people seem to be so gosh dang negative about it. It did everything I would want for the developers to do. It innovated. It wasn't Frostpunk 1.5, but it turns out, despite how many audiences want to keep saying, oh, well, we want something to be a little bit different, right? We don't just want the same thing over and over again. No, it turns out they do just want the same thing, and that's just a bit disappointing to me. I really expected more. Oh well, it is what it is. Like, at the end of the day, I can't change people's minds. The you know, the customer's always right and all that, right? But, like, I don't know. I thought this game was great. I really did. Anyway, can we be done with this stupid storm now, please? I'd like to be able to go explore again. We can get to some more of these city laws that I tend to ignore. Unproductive, do maintenance, get some housing blocks, reorganize our labor. That could be good. And as soon as the storm is done, I do plan on... There we go. All right, now we can start expanding our trails drastically throughout the Frostland. And now is the time to start looking for ways to get into these colonies. Okay, we're getting some skyways set up now so that we can get to the fuel colony. This is a bug, by the way. There's clearly a route that's set up over here. So I'm not sure why it's acting like this isn't built. I've seen this happen before. Hopefully this doesn't break anything. Unproductive to maintenance. Fine, I'll negotiate. There we go. I'll just have to build another one of those hospitals. Maybe in one of the other colonies, though. That's going to be fine. How are we doing on our ideologies? We're even on progress and adaptation. Decent on merit and equality. It's now reason versus tradition that is starting to hurt. And I don't think there's much else I can do, honestly, to get tradition higher, shy of changing up a few laws. Pharmaceuticals only has reasons as an option or something neutral, which I don't really care about. Are there any hubs we want to use? I've not used a single one of these so far, mostly because you usually don't need them. I guess we'll just go ahead and ignore that. Maybe it's time to go ahead and move toward those geothermal plants. I don't really want to increase our disease or give adaptation any additional ammunition, so let's go for something neutral. The temperature is dropping. Let's make sure we keep balancing things out with our colonies. No reason for anyone to risk death. And I do want to transfer some more population over into the food colony because we can set up some more of those logistics hubs. The technocrats are now getting rallies. See, this is weird. It's kind of bizarre to me that I'm actually getting rallies from both sides here, you know? Do I want to get permanent increase to research speed? I could do that, but I actually think the heat stamps are more valuable right now. There's a limit to how much more I need to research in this game. Whereas there's never a limit to how many heat stamps I seem to need. What else can I find out here in the wastes? Anything that is going to be game-changing? A machine where I can get more cores? Okay. A walled-in camp for some more people? Sure. A lot more population, just boosted up. That's great. We found prefabs or materials. Again, not useful. A petty duchy. Another 1,600 population there. Yeah, we're finding lots of population. And down over here, I found more coal, and we found the Triumphal Arch. This doesn't matter. Okay, all right. Well, let's go ahead and set up our next colony, I think. It's time to go ahead and go for the fuel colony. Why fuel? Because I don't need materials. I've got more than I freaking know what to do with. We're going to start mass extracting some cores while I also build other things up. Okay, so we're up to 6, and that's going to be going up a fair bit per week. Over here, a fort century. We could bring 800 people and have some disease issues, force people to disperse. Why would I want to do that? There are people outside. Oh, it's a quarantine camp. I'm sorry. Hold on. There's a special event going on here. Where's Fort Century? Where is that? There it is. Settlement population. Unknown. We can take in their sick. Or eventually form an alliance, repair the rattling mine. Ooh. There it is. To replace it. Oh, this is fine. Yeah, 100 prefabs. I'll do it. What is this going to lead to? I don't know. I wasn't expecting there to be other factions out here in the Frostlands. Did we finish researching that geothermal plant? We did. Okay. Do we actually want to do something with that? I don't know. We could spend some cores to do that. 150 steam output. On the other hand, just reducing the amount of heat needed from food districts could make it easier to sustain some colonies later, too. It's okay. I think I'd rather just go ahead and get the pump jacks up and running, though. We still haven't got this, and now I'm going to get some oil output now that I do have a fuel colony on the way. We are also about to see that temperature drop one more time. What's the damage? Okay, scary, but we're still very much in the positive across the board. Except for in our food colony. So this is why I want to get the fuel colony up and running, because we know that this is only going to get worse. Do we want to just go ahead and set up the next colony now? Honestly, yeah, before the next storm hits, let's just go ahead and get everything set up. Everything at once. Let's take the sick from Fort Century. Nothing to worry about there. We're going to find out that we get the extra people and disease goes up, but I've got lots of ways to treat disease, so that's fine. Biggest issue is I am once again completely out of workforce. I need to bring in more immigrants. Fortunately, there are plenty of them out there. Get them! And I got lots of free housing, so if anyone wants someplace to live, it's going to be great. And there's my fuel colony constructed. Okay. So let's turn on that generator, because why the heck would you have it off? And let's make sure we start immediately transferring resources. We start with some oil, which is nice. I am running out of goods. We need to boost that up in the main city still. What do we have as far as the layout of this map? It is very sparse here. Tiny bit of materials, bit of food, Some steam, a fair bit of oil, though. 3 deposits. We'll go ahead and put these people to work, get that oil going. And I do see another logistics point. If we could extract our way over here, that'd be great. Which will take a little time, but no big deal. And did we research the pump jack? No, not yet. Tell you what, back at the main city, let's plan a few things out. I got so many materials, it hurts. We should get more industrial districts, right? Yes, of course we should. Why even think about it? And I think I'd also like to go ahead and research... Well, I already got the goods factories now that I think about it, so we're fine there. Frickin' heck, what do I even need? Seriously, not much. Like, we're in such good shape, it hurts. I do see another whiteout on the horizon, though. All right, so by about week 550 or so. Can we win the game before we get to that? Is that possible? We have our materials colony set up now, so that's the next thing. I've got no fuel whatsoever over here. Let's fix that. And what resources do I have? Coal deposits, an infinite one included. And then all the materials I could ever want over here. Weirdly, no infinite deposits. Though you don't necessarily need one when you have a iron vein. It's got 2 million resources, and there's 3 of those. So, like, we'll be fine. I could get myself that fracturing pump jack now. Squalor goes up by a lot, which is a little bit risky, but I think it's worth this. Food colony still looking good. Material colony, we're getting the housing figured out right now. Okay. Let's build another logistics district all the way over here. And the temperature is about to drop one more time. Disease is also going up. We knew that was going to happen. And housing is looking a lot scarier, but I'm not worried about that yet, because I'm about to send a lot of people out of the city. Technocrats will optimize research. Thinkers, can you give me some more cash? 293 more seems pretty decent, thank you. Use that to get a calibrated goods factory up and running, so we get a lot more goods. Might need 2 of those, actually. My goods production seems to have severely tanked. How much population do I have to spare? I have about 4,000 workers I could send elsewhere right now out of Darby Hill, Montashire. The temperature drop, we're still looking pretty good here. Can swap over to oil. All right, so now I'm in a position where once again I have to keep swapping back and forth between resources. I've got 20-some cores right now, which is pretty great. But I think now's a good time to go ahead and start taking advantage of the steam. I also need to set myself on some more equality in my city. Because at the moment, things are looking a little bit too much towards merit. I hate the idea of losing some production efficiency with mandatory unions, but I think we're going to do it. Everything else is looking okay. Tradition's still very far behind. Ugh. Tell you what, let's go to the fuel colony and expand this a fair bit. We'll send a couple thousand more people over here. Might be excessive, but we can do that. The materials colony, I don't even really care about, to be honest. There's nothing I need over here. Let's bring in the quarantine camp. Again, more disease is concerning. We're going to have a lot of ways of dealing with disease. I would like to get this goods camp up and running, because that would take a bit of pressure off of my economy right now. And I'm just going to do exploration that basically finds me more people. I think that's all that matters right now. Find as many people as we can, and there's a lot of them out here. Oh, great. Now the Ice Bloods are protesting. Yeah, that's because reason has now trumped tradition too much. Gotta turn that around and quick. Could do that over here, just build a Vanguard Logistics Bay. I just need to get them to neutral relations. I think we can do that. Nope, not quite. Gosh dang it, guys. Why? Could use the youth volunteer duty. This is gonna lose a lot of trust, but it's a pretty immediate way that I can do things here. And there we go. Protest should be coming to an end. Thank you. We're balancing on the edge of a knife here, and it scares me. The Imperial Manufactory over here is now running, which means we have 375 more goods coming our way. Okay, so unless I'm very much mistaken, that solves all of those problems. Yeah, now I'm making more than I know what to do with. Good. Oh, and amazingly, I didn't think this was going to happen, but the Ice Bloods did manage to change some laws here towards merit. Huh, didn't want that, but okay. Can we form an alliance with Fort Century yet? We can. Okay, so this creates guard squads as an outpost. I don't really care. Harvesting sites supply more food. I mean, I guess that's sort of nice, but like, yeah, no, this doesn't do me a whole lot. Mandatory unions. Interesting. They demand more food. This is why I don't like unions. It's fine, though. I got plenty of food. That's not going to hurt me at all. If I had more other resources stockpiled, I'm not sure which one, we might have been able to bribe the leaders away, but meh, I'm not worried about them. To the west, we've discovered what? More people? 2,400 foragers? Frick me. All right, take them. Another 1,400 up over here. Okay. Oh, something's wrong over here in the oil colony. What are we missing? Frickin', I didn't build my shelters. Right. Not to mention we're completely out of food and goods. Yeah, I neglected this place way too much. Oh, whoopsies. Fixable, fixable, fixable. Just please no one die in the meantime. That would be a problem. And 3,500 more people just moved into the city. Okay, I think we're actually going for the victory here. I think it's time. What that means is I need a lot of housing, for sure. Which means I'm going to spend all my money building up new housing districts now. Yay. But that's just so I'll be able to move people into all my different colonies. I don't even have jobs for all these people. I don't have enough heat stamps to go around to give everyone jobs, but it doesn't matter. Holy crap, I've got too many people in this. Ah! I'm gonna need some money, guys. Seriously, who can give me some money? I need money. Sure, trust goes down by a lot, but I need cash in order to build things out quickly because I have to relocate too many people. Not to mention, I need to get some more food production going over here, too, because I now have to feed a lot more mouths than I was expecting. Let's just go ahead and get as much housing down as possible and then basically just reorganize. That's all I need. I want to see what my resources really look like once all is said and done. Oh my gosh. The unions are demanding even more stuff! It's fine, I can afford more goods. Gosh, oh man. Never get unions! This is the lesson we're learning from this. Never take in unions. They suck! We also found a Galician refinery. 1,200 more people I can take back to the city. Do it! How much longer until our next whiteout? It is a brittle wood whiteout. Okay, which means I basically am not even slightly worried. Populations have relocated. I still need a little bit more housing over here. And I am completely out of prefabs. Oh, frick. Right, that's actually a huge problem. In the main city, I need to swap over one of these to prefab production for a bit. We have enough goods to go around. It's fine. Now I'll start producing 72 a week. That's pretty good. Could even consider researching a prefab factory. But honestly, I think we're at a point where I'd rather get some other important hubs. Like, let's say a communication hub and start bribing people to like me. You know? Trust. New areas explored, 1,400 more population. Good. More cores. We're almost at that 40 mark, actually. And the unions finally pay off. Oh, good. Now they actually increase production efficiency. All right, it actually turns out that unions are great. Just takes a little bit of negotiation, you know? It's fine. Not a big deal. So we're up to needing 10,000 more people before I'm going to be able to finish this scenario out. Find a few more out in the wilds. One more round of population growth. Can we do that before the next whiteout? That is the question for me. Maybe if I get myself a few more of the Vanguard Logistics base and just keep getting more teams, we can explore the Frostlands faster and get more people. This is my crunch. I really would like to finish this out before the next whiteout hits. Whoa! Sorry, the rest of the people just arrived at my fuel colony. Okay, we're actually at 10,000 here. Ha! Right, so I actually need only 5,000 people now. Which means if I can just transfer around a few more resources to balance this out, and then get this housing taken care of, which will be done momentarily, then this area will also be self-sufficient. If I can just reach self-sufficiency in all these colonies, too, like a good trade balance, that's how I also know that we're going to be in good shape. Let's get more workforce from the technocrats. More workforce just means more people I can transfer around. Good. Found a lot more stuff over here. I'll bet you this is the last round of people I need. Yep, 900 population there. Another 900 over there. Any more people even on the map? We're about to finish exploring a couple more spots. As far as I know, this is literally all the people left in the world. Okay, so that's it from an exploration perspective. Maybe we could even consider building up an air transport hub. Not usually worth it, but a little bit of extra workforce is all I'm looking for, right? I don't know if we're going to make it before the storm hits. We're very close. I've almost got enough people. Tell you what I'm going to do. Even though this is going to shut down a few things here at the city, we're fine. Let's go ahead and transfer all the people I need to get to 10,000 over there, which is going to leave me a couple thousand workers short, but my economy is still fine, so who cares? Also, a lot more people from the Frostlands are about to get in here, which solves the problem. And the storm just hit. Okay. People haven't arrived over here yet, but they will soon. Population's about to go. Oh, there we go! There we go! The ambition has been fulfilled! You have fulfilled the ambition. People stop in awe when they realize this once far-fetched dream has become a reality. Some even dare to call it utopia. We have built a future! Oh, frick. I thought that maybe we were actually gonna have to survive this storm, but it looks like we actually win! Ah, it's beautiful. You did it, Steward! You came in with a vision! A promise! And you delivered. Sure, some sacrifices had to be made, but through thick and thin, you held the city all together. Can you hear the people sing? No, sorry, the crowds under your windows. It's your name they chant, your success on their lips. You gave them a purpose, something worth living for, something worth fighting for. A future. Our city will stand the test of time, a beacon of hope in the darkness. Well, we could just go ahead and finish out the whiteout, and I guess I might as well. It's a long whiteout though, ain't it? It's gonna last for forever, all the way up until about week 600. But at least from a heating perspective, from a resource perspective, our economy is looking pretty good nonetheless. I'm gonna go ahead and do one last thing. We're gonna upgrade the generator. That does mean I need some more cores, but it's okay. And during a whiteout, this is the current state of our economy, by the way. With everything else balanced, my colony's completely taken care of, zero problems at all. That's all we have to suffer during a freaking whiteout. And the game isn't going to get any harder than this, by the way. The temperature may drop, and then it'll go back up, and then down and up, and so on. Like, this is the worst it gets, literally. Ooh, and I have my 45 cores! Hey, wait a minute. This is about to get even better. Hang on. Symbiotic regulator! How much heat are we going to get out of this sucker is the new question. Boom! Well, it saved me like 300 coal. I mean, 1,700 coal becomes 5,000 heat is pretty good. Not to mention we can boost up our food production, our housing, or our heavy industry. Oh, thou art a beautiful generator, aren't you? Who's a good boy? It's you! Only thing to do now, then? Build up some hubs and try to win the hearts and minds of the people. I don't even know if these are going to make much of a difference, nor do I need them, but they're cool. Oh, it actually makes a huge difference. Frick me. And at week 600, the storm has broken. And the economy has completely corrected itself. We could last forever like this. Absolutely beautiful. Well, I mean, more people moved in, but you get the idea. It's no big deal. Well, that was a tremendously successful campaign. We explored all over the world. There's still technically more for me to find. We've lasted through, I think, 3 different whiteouts, which is, you know, pretty good. More than the campaign for sure. We never had a civil war. And unless I missed a pop-up, we never had a single death. In fact, I can completely confirm that. I just got the achievement. Not on my watch. Complete a playthrough without any avoidable deaths. A perfect Captain Difficulty deathless run. Does this mean that I am the king of Frostpunk 2? It might. Watch out, DDR Jake, I'm coming for you. No, that guy is still amazing. I won't pretend that I'm able to beat that guy. He's something else entirely. But either way, I sure as heck had a lot of fun with this. All right, that's where I'm going to end things today, everybody. It's going to be a little while before I come back to Frostpunk 2. I'm looking forward to seeing what DLCs and scenarios are going to be available in the future, and you better believe I am going to consume those greedily when they do come out. But for now, thank you all very much for watching this series and showing your continued support. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting that like button. It really does help. Leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.